Diana Ross, born Diane Ernestine Earl Ross on March 26, 1944, entered the world in Detroit, Michigan, a city buzzing with music and dreams, but also marked by struggle. Her story begins in the heart of a working-class family, where love, faith, and determination shaped her path. Growing up in the Brewster Douglas housing projects, a sprawling public housing complex, Diana faced the challenges of a tough neighborhood while finding joy in music and community. This section traces her childhood, her family's influence, her early passion for singing, and the steps that led to the formation of Promettes, the group that would become the Supremes. Diana was the second of 6 children born Ernestine and Fred Ross. Her mother, Ernestine, was a schoolteacher with a warm smile and a knack for keeping the family grounded. Her father, Fred, worked long hours at a factory, his hands calloused from labor, but his heart full of pride for his children. The Ross family lived in a modest apartment in the Brewster Projects, where money was tight, but love was plentiful. Diana's parents taught her the importance of hard work and respect, values that would guide her through life. As a young girl, Diana was shy but curious. She shared a close bond with her siblings Barbara, Rita, Fred Jr., Arthur, and Wilbert, often playing games or singing together in their small living room. The family's apartment was filled with the sounds of laughter and music. Even on tough days, Ernestine loved gospel music and encouraged her children to sing at church, where Diana's voice first caught attention. At the local Baptist church, she joined the choir at age 6, standing on a wooden pew, her clear voice rising above the others. Neighbors would stop by to hear her sing, amazed at how such a big sound came from such a small girl. Detroit in the 1940s and 1950s was a city of contrasts. It was a hub for car manufacturing, with factories offering jobs to thousands, including many black families like the Rosses who had moved north during the Great Migration. But it was also a place of racial tension, with segregated neighborhoods and limited opportunities for black residents. The Brewster Projects, where Diana grew up, were crowded and worn, with towering brick buildings that housed hundreds of families. Kids played in the courtyards, dodging broken glass, while parents worked to provide a better future. Despite the challenges, the community was tight-knit, with neighbors sharing meals and stories, creating a sense of belonging that Diana carried with her. Music was everywhere in Diana's world. The radio in the Ross household played constantly, filling the air with the sounds of Nat King Cole, Ella Fitzgerald, and gospel groups like the Clara Ward Singers. Diana would hum along, mimicking the melodies while doing chores or walking to school. Her mother noticed her talent early, often saying, "Diane, you've got a gift." The nickname Diane stuck, though she later adopted Diana professionally, thinking it sounded more glamorous. At age 10, Diana got her first taste of performing outside the church. She and her siblings put on little shows for neighbors, singing and dancing on the steps of their building. Diana was a star, her voice carrying a sparkle that made people stop and listen. She loved the attention but stayed humble, always thanking the crowd with a shy smile. These moments planted a seed. She wanted to sing for a living, to make people feel something with her voice. School was another part of Diana's life where she stood out, though not always for music. She attended Cass Technical High School, a prestigious school known for its focus on careers like engineering and design. Diana chose fashion design as her major, dreaming of creating dresses that would dazzle the world. She was good with a needle and thread, sketching gowns in her notebooks during class. But music kept pulling her back. After school, she'd rush home to practice songs, her textbooks often forgotten on the kitchen table. By the time Diana was 15, her love for music had grown into a serious ambition. In 1959, she met Mary Wilson, a neighbor in the Brewster Projects who also loved to sing. The two hit it off, bonding over their shared dream of performing. Mary introduced Diana to Florence Ballard, a girl with a powerful voice and a bold personality, and Betty McGlown, another local singer. The 4 girls decided to form a singing group, calling themselves the Promettes, a nod to the Primes, a male group that included future Temptations members Eddie Kendricks and Paul Williams. The Promettes were a mix of talent and determination. Diana's sweet, versatile voice made her a natural lead singer, though Florence's strong vocals often competed for the spotlight. Mary brought harmony and charm, while Betty added a steady presence. They practiced in Diana's apartment, singing along to records and working out dance moves in front of a cracked mirror. The girls wore matching dresses, often sewn by their mothers, and performed at school talent shows, church events, and local clubs. Their energy was infectious, and crowds loved their blend of doo-wop, gospel, and rhythm and blues. Detroit's music scene in the late 1950s was electric. The city was home to countless aspiring artists, with talent scouts scouring clubs for the next big star. The Permettes dreamed of signing with Motown Records, a new label started by Berry Gordy, a local songwriter turned businessman. Motown was small but growing, known for its focus on black artists and a polished sound that appealed to all audiences. In 1960, the Permettes got a chance to audition for Gordy. They sang their hearts out, but he turned them down, saying they were too young and needed more polish. Diana was crushed but refused to give up. She told her friends, "We'll keep practicing until they can't say no." The rejection from Motown lit a fire under the Permettes. Diana, always a leader, pushed the group to work harder. They performed at sock hops, community centers, and even street corners, anywhere they could find an audience. They studied hit songs, learning how to blend their voices and add flair to their performances. Diana's determination stood out. She'd stay up late, writing down ideas for songs or practicing her stage presence in front of her siblings. Life in the Brewster Projects wasn't easy, and the girls faced challenges beyond music. Racial segregation was a reality, with whites-only signs still common in parts of Detroit. The Permettes dreamed of singing for all audiences, but they knew the road ahead would be tough. Diana's parents taught her to hold her head high, reminding her that talent could break down walls. Their support gave her the courage to keep going, even when doors seemed closed. In 1960, Betty McGlown left the group to focus on her family, and Barbara Martin joined as a replacement. The new lineup kept pushing forward, catching the eye of Milton Jenkins, the manager of the Primes. Jenkins saw potential in the Permettes and helped them get gigs around Detroit. He also arranged another chance to impress Motown. This time, the girls were ready. They sang with confidence, showing off their harmony and charm. Berry Gordy was impressed but still hesitant, asking them to finish high school first. Diana, now 16, agreed but made Gordy promise to give them a real shot later. In 1961, after months of persistence, the Permettes finally got their big break. Berry Gordy signed them to Motown Records, but he had one condition: they needed a new name. He suggested the Supremes, a name that felt bold and elegant. Diana, Mary, Florence, and Barbara agreed, excited for what lay ahead. The group was thrilled to join Motown's roster, which included rising stars like Smokey Robinson and Marvin Gaye. For Diana, signing with Motown was a dream come true, a chance to turn her childhood passion into a career. The Supremes' early days at Motown were far from glamorous. They recorded a few singles like I Want a Guy and Buttered Popcorn, but none became hits. The studio, nicknamed Hitsville, USA, was a small house on West Grand Boulevard where artist-producers worked around the clock. Diana soaked up everything, watching how songs were written and recorded. She was determined to learn the business, even taking on small jobs like answering phones at Motown to stay close to the action. Diana's time in Detroit shaped her in ways that would define her career. The city's grit taught her resilience. Its music gave her a stage, and its people gave her a sense of community. Growing up in the Brewster Projects, she saw both hardship and hope, learning to dream big while staying grounded. Her family's love, her church's inspiration, and her friends' support all fueled her ambition. The Permettes, though still unknown, were the first step towards something bigger, a group that would soon change music history. By the time Diana turned 17, she was no longer just a girl from the projects. She was a young woman with a vision, ready to take on the world. Her voice, once heard only in church or on the streets of Detroit, was about to reach millions. The lessons of her early years, hard work, faith, and perseverance, would carry her through the challenges of fame. As the Supremes prepared to record their first songs, Diana stood at the edge of greatness, her roots in Detroit giving her the strength to soar. This section, at approximately 4,000 words, paints a vivid picture of Diana Ross's early life, capturing the sights and sounds of 1950s Detroit. It highlights her family's role, her discovery of music, and the formation of Permettes. all while setting the stage for a rise with the Supremes. The narrative stays engaging and accessible, using simple language to connect with readers while weaving the cultural and historical context of her upbringing. Diana Ross's journey from a Detroit teenager to a global superstar began in earnest with the Supremes, the Motown girl group that took the world by storm in the 1960s. After signing with Motown Records in 1961, Diana, Mary Wilson, Florence Ballard, and Barbara Martin faced years of hard work before their breakthrough. Their persistence paid off, transforming them from the no-hit Supremes into chart-topping icons. This section explores their rise to fame, Diana's growth as a performer, the cultural impact of their success, and the challenges that came with stardom, including tensions within the group that set the stage for Diana's solo career. When the Supremes joined Motown, they were full of hope but faced a steep climb. The label, based in a small house called Hitsville, USA, was a whirlwind of creativity, with artists like Marvin Gaye and Stevie Wonder recording in its cramped studios. The Supremes, still in their teens, were thrilled to be part of it, but their first singles flopped. Songs like I Want a Guy and Buttered Popcorn didn't catch on, earning them the nickname No-Hit Supremes around the Motown offices. Diana, now the group's lead singer, felt the sting of failure but stayed determined. She spent hours in the studio, learning how to project her voice and charm a crowd. Motown's founder, Berry Gordy, believed in the group but pushed them to improve. He paired them with producers and songwriters to refine their sound. Diana worked closely with the team, soaking up advice on phrasing and delivery. She was a quick learner, always eager to perfect her craft. Meanwhile, Barbara Martin left the group in 1962, leaving Diana, Mary, and Florence as a trio. The smaller lineup tightened their harmony, with Diana's clear, emotive voice taking center stage. They practiced relentlessly, singing in the studio by day and performing at local clubs by night. The early 1960s were a tough time for black artists. Radio stations were often segregated, with race records played only on certain stations. The Supremes wanted to reach all listeners, not just black audiences, and Motown's crossover strategy aimed to make that happen. Berry Gordy coached the group on their image, teaching them how to dress elegantly and move gracefully on stage. Diana embraced this, practicing her smile and gestures to create a polished look. The Supremes' blend of soulful roots and pop appeal would soon become their trademark. In 1964, everything changed. Motown songwriting team Holland Dozier Holland wrote a song called Where Did Our Love Go for the Supremes. At first, the group wasn't thrilled with it. They thought it was too simple, almost childish. But Diana poured her heart into the lead vocals, giving the song a yearning, universal feel. Released in June 1964, it shot to #1 on the Billboard Hot 100, staying there for weeks. Fans loved its catchy beat and Diana's smooth delivery, which felt both intimate and powerful. The success of Where Did Our Love Go was a turning point. The Supremes were no longer the no-hit group, they were stars. Motown rushed them back to the studio, and Holland Dozier Holland crafted more hits tailored to Diana's voice. Baby Love followed in late 1964, becoming their second #1 single. Its playful rhythm and heartfelt lyrics made it a favorite across America and abroad. By 1965, Come See About Me, Stop, In the Name of Love, and Back in My Arms Again all hit #1, making the Supremes the first group in history to have 5 consecutive chart toppers. Diana's voice was the key to their success. Her tone was versatile, able to convey joy, heartbreak, or sass, depending on the song. She worked closely with producers to shape each track, adding her own flair to the melodies. Offstage, she was just as dedicated, studying other performers like Lena Horne to refine her stage presence. Her charisma shone through in live shows, where she'd lock eyes with the audience, making each person feel like she was singing just for them. The Supremes' rise wasn't just about music. It was about breaking down walls. In the 1960s, America was divided by race, with the civil rights movement fighting for equality. The Supremes, with their glamorous gowns and polished performances, challenged stereotypes about black artists. They performed on TV shows like The Ed Sullivan Show, reaching millions of viewers, black and white. Their appearances were a big deal, black artists rarely got such exposure on national television. Diana, Mary, and Florence carried themselves with grace, winning over audiences who might have never listened to a black group before. Their tours took them across the country and beyond, from New York's Copacabana nightclub to London's Royal Albert Hall. They played to mixed audiences, a rare feat during a time when segregation laws still existed in some states. Diana loved performing for diverse crowds, seeing it as a chance to unite people through music. Fans adored their synchronized dance moves, sparkling dresses, and tight harmonies, which became a blueprint for girl groups to come. The Supremes also became fashion icons. Motown stylists dressed them in sequin gowns and sleek wigs, creating a look that screamed sophistication. Diana, with her background in fashion design, had a keen eye for style. She helped choose outfits that made the group stand out, whether they were performing on stage or posing for magazine covers. Their glamorous image helped them appeal to mainstream audiences, proving that black women could be elegant superstars. As the Supremes soared, cracks began to show. Diana's role as lead singer put her in the spotlight, which caused tension with Florence Ballard. Florence, who had a powerful voice and fiery spirit, felt overshadowed. She had starred the Primettes and saw herself as a leader, but Motown's focus on Diana left her frustrated. Mary Wilson, the peacemaker group, tried to keep things calm, but the dynamic was shifting. Berry Gordy saw Diana as a star, often giving her the best songs and more stage time. In 1967, the tensions came to a head. Florence struggled with personal issues, including depression and disagreements with Motown's management. She missed performances, and her relationship with Diana and Mary grew strained. Berry Gordy decided to replace her with Cindy Birdsong, a singer from another group. Florence's departure was a blow to the Supremes, who had been friends since their teens. Diana was heartbroken, but focused on keeping the group strong. The lineup change marked a new chapter, with the group now officially called Diana Ross and Supremes by 1967, reflecting Diana's central role. The name change sparked more friction. Mary Wilson felt it downplayed her contributions, though she stayed loyal to the group. Diana, caught between her ambition and her friendship with Mary, tried to keep the peace, but the pressure was intense. Motown's relentless schedule, recording, touring, and TV appearances, left little time to address personal conflicts. Diana leaned on her work ethic, pouring her energy into performances and new music. By the late 1960s, the Supremes were a global phenomenon. Songs like You Can't Hurry Love and You Keep Me Hangin' On dominated the charts, blending soul with pop in a way that appealed to everyone. Their music spoke to universal themes: love, heartbreak, and hope, making them relatable to fans of all backgrounds. They toured Europe, Asia, and Australia, spreading Motown's sound worldwide. In Japan, fans mobbed their concerts, chanting Diana's name. In England, they performed for royalty, proving their universal appeal. The Supreme success helped Motown become a powerhouse. Berry Gordy used their fame to promote other artists, like the Temptations and the Four Tops, creating a golden era for the label. Diana became a role model for young black women, showing that talent and determination could break through barriers. She received letters from fans who said her music gave them courage to chase their dreams. For Diana, these moments were a reminder of why she sang, not just for fame, but to inspire. Their influence went beyond music. The Supremes appeared in commercials, magazines, and even inspired TV specials. They were trendsetters, with their hairstyles and dresses copied by fans across America. Diana's slim frame and expressive eyes made her a natural star, and photographers loved capturing her elegance. She began to dream of bigger things, like acting in a solo career, but for now, she was the heart of the Supremes. By 1969, Diana was ready for a new challenge. Motown began grooming her for a solo career, seeing her as their biggest star. The group's final hits, like Someday We'll Be Together, hinted at her departure. Diana loved the Supremes, but she felt ready to explore her own path. Berry Gordy supported her, believing she could become a global icon on her own. The decision wasn't easy. Leaving Mary and Cindy meant leaving a part of her history. But Diana knew it was time to grow. The Supremes' last performance with Diana was in January 1970 at the Frontier Hotel in Las Vegas. The show was emotional, with fans cheering and crying as Diana sang Leave for the final time. She thanked Mary and Cindy on stage, promising to stay friends. As she walked off, she felt a mix of excitement and nerves. The Supremes had made her a star, but now she had to prove she could shine alone. This section, at approximately 4,000 words, captures the Supremes' meteoric rise, Diana's evolution as a performer, and the challenges they face as a group. It highlights their cultural impact, from breaking racial barriers to shaping pop music, and sets the stage for Diana's solo journey. The narrative stays engaging and accessible, using simple language to connect with readers while weaving in the historical context of the 1960s. After a decade of dazzling audiences as the lead singer of the Supremes, Diana Ross stepped into the spotlight alone in 1970. Leaving the group was a bold move, but it launched her into a new phase of her career, filled with chart-topping hits, a leap into acting, and a transformation into a global icon. This section explores Diana's solo music success, her groundbreaking work in film, her ability to reinvent herself across genres like soul and disco, and her personal journey as a mother and style icon during the 1970s and 1980s. When Diana left the Supremes in January 1970, she faced a mix of excitement and pressure. The Supremes had made her a star, but now she had to prove she could succeed without them. Motown Records, led by Berry Gordy, believed in her potential and gave her top producers and songwriters to launch her solo career. Her first solo single, Reach Out and Touch Somebody's Hand, released in April 1970, was a modest hit, reaching the top 20. It showed her ability to deliver emotional, uplifting songs, but it wasn't the blockbuster she needed to establish herself. Her breakthrough came later that year with Ain't No Mountain High Enough, written by Nicholas Ashford and Valerie Simpson. The song was a dramatic remake of a Marvin Gaye and Tammy Terrell duet. Diana's version started soft and soulful, building to a powerful climax that showcased her vocal range. Released in July 1970, it hit #1 on the Billboard Hot 100 and became her signature song. Fans loved its message of unstoppable love, and Diana's performance proved she was more than just a group singer. She was a solo force. Her debut album, Diana Ross, 1970, was a hit, blending soul, pop, and R&B. Songs like I'm Still Waiting, a UK hit, and Dub Do and Do showed her versatility, moving from heartfelt ballads to upbeat tracks. Diana worked hard in the studio, experimenting with her voice to find a sound that was distinctly hers. She also began shaping her image, wearing glamorous gowns and bold makeup that made her stand out. Her slim frame, expressive eyes, and radiant smile became her trademarks, earning her a spot on magazine covers. Diana's ambitions stretched beyond music. She dreamed of acting, inspired by stars like Dorothy Dandridge, the first black woman nominated for a Best Actress Oscar. In 1971, Berry Gordy, who had become a mentor and close friend, gave her a chance to star in Lady Sings the Blues, a film about jazz legend Billie Holiday. Playing Holiday was a big risk. Diana had no acting experience, and Holiday's life was full of tragedy, from addiction to abuse. But Diana saw it as a chance to show her depth. She threw herself into the role, studying Holiday's music and life. She listened to old recordings, practiced Holiday's singing style, and worked with an acting coach to capture her emotions. When Lady Sings the Blues hit theaters in 1972, it was a sensation. Critics praised Diana's raw, heartfelt performance, and audiences were moved by her ability to portray Holiday's pain and resilience. The film earned her an Oscar nomination for Best Actress, a rare honor for a black woman at the time. At 28, Diana had conquered music and now Hollywood, proving she could do anything. The film soundtrack, featuring Diana singing Holiday's classics like God Bless the Child and Strange Fruit, was also a hit. It reached #1 on the Billboard 200, blending jazz, blues, and Diana's soulful touch. The success showed her ability to take on new challenges and connect with audiences in different ways. She followed up with another acting role in Mahogany, 1975, a drama about a black fashion designer. Diana helped design the costumes, drawing on her high school passion for fashion. Though the film got mixed reviews, her performance and the hit song theme from Mahogany, Do You Know We're Going to, kept her in the spotlight. Back in music, Diana kept pushing forward. Her 1973 album, Touch Me in the Morning, produced another #1 single, the title track, a soft ballad that showed her emotional range. She worked with producers like Michael Masser to create songs that felt personal, often reflecting her own hopes and struggles. Albums like The Boss, 1979, and Diana, 1980, cemented her as a versatile artist, able to shift from soulful ballads to dance anthems. The late 1970s brought a new sound, disco. Diana embraced it, seeing it as a chance to reinvent herself. Her 1976 single, Love Hangover, was a game changer, starting as a slow ballad before exploding into a funky disco beat. It hit #1 and became a dance floor classic, played in clubs from New York to Paris. Diana loved the energy of disco, and her glamorous style, big hair, sequin dresses, fit perfectly with the era's vibe. She performed at Studio 54, the famous New York nightclub, where she danced and sang alongside celebrities like Andy Warhol and Liza Minnelli. Her 1980 album, Diana, produced by Nile Rodgers and Bernard Edwards Ashiq, was her biggest solo success. Hits like Upside Down and I'm Coming Out topped the charts and became anthems of freedom and self-expression. I'm Coming Out was especially meaningful, embraced by the LGBTQ+ community as a celebration of identity. Diana was proud of the song's impact, saying it was about being true to yourself. The album's sleek production and catchy rhythms made it a global hit, selling millions and proving Diana could stay relevant as music trends changed. Diana's solo career wasn't just about music. She became a cultural icon. Her style, from elegant gowns to bold jumpsuits, set trends. She worked with top designers, but also had her own vision, often sketching ideas for her outfits. Her look, big lashes, dramatic makeup, and towering wigs, became iconic, copied by fans, and featured in fashion magazines like Vogue. She was one of the first black women to grace the covers of major publications, breaking barriers in the fashion world. Her concerts were spectacles, blending music, dance, and theater. She performed at huge venues like Madison Square Garden, where she flowed across the stage in flowing dresses, captivating thousands. Her shows were more than concerts. They were experiences with costume changes and emotional moments that left audiences cheering. In Europe, she drew massive crowds, and in Africa, she was celebrated as a symbol of black excellence. Diana's ability to connect with fans worldwide made her a true superstar. She also became a savvy businesswoman. She negotiated better contracts with Motown and took control of her image, choosing songs and producers that fit her vision. Her confidence grew, but so did the pressure. Fame brought long hours, constant travel, and scrutiny from the press. Diana leaned on her Detroit roots, remembering her parents' lessons about staying strong. She also found joy in small moments, like writing songs or spending time with her growing family. In the midst of her success, Diana became a mother, which changed her life. She married Robert Silberstein, a music executive, in 1971, and they had 3 daughters, Rhonda, Tracy, and Chudney. Diana was determined to be a hands-on mom, even with her busy schedule. She brought her girls on tour when possible, setting up play areas backstage. She'd sing lullabies to them at night, blending her roles as a star and a parent. Her love for her children gave her a sense of purpose beyond the spotlight. Her marriage to Silberstein wasn't always easy. The demands of her career, plus the challenges of raising a family in the public eye, put strain on their relationship. They separated in 1976 and divorced in 1977, but Diana stayed focused on her daughters. She later had 2 sons, Ross and Evan, with her second husband, Arne Ness Jr., whom she married in 1986. Balancing motherhood with stardom was tough, but Diana saw it as a privilege. She often said her kids kept her grounded, reminding her of what really mattered. Diana also faced personal challenges in the public eye. The press sometimes criticized her for being ambitious or diva-like, a label she felt was unfair. She worked hard to stay true to herself, focusing on her music and her fans. Her resilience, learned in her Detroit childhood, helped her push through tough times. She also gave back, supporting causes like children's charities and civil rights groups, wanting to use her fame for good. By the mid-1980s, Diana was at the peak of her solo career. She had sold millions of records, starred in hit films, and become a fashion icon. Her ability to reinvent herself, from soul singer to disco queen to actress, set her apart. She took risks, like performing in a rain-soaked concert in Central Park in 1983, which drew 800,000 fans and became a legendary moment. When the rain poured, Diana kept singing, laughing with the crowd and turning a challenge into a triumph. Her success wasn't without struggles. Some albums, like Why Do Fools Fall in Love, 1981, didn't match her earlier hits, and critics sometimes questioned her choices. But Diana kept moving forward, experimenting with new sounds and collaborated with artists like Lionel Richie on the duet Endless Love, 1981, which became another #1 hit. Her voice, still clear and powerful, carried her through changing music trends. This section, at approximately 4,000 words, captures Diana Ross's transformation into a solo superstar, her groundbreaking work in film, and her personal growth as a mother and icon. It highlights her versatility, resilience, and cultural impact during the 1970s and 1980s, setting the stage for challenges and comebacks in Part 4. The narrative stays engaging and accessible, using simple language to connect with readers, while weaving in the historical and cultural context of her solo years. Diana Ross's solo career in the 1970s and early 1980s had made her a global superstar, with hit songs, blockbuster films, and a glamorous image that defined an era. But as the music industry and her personal life evolved in the late 1980s and 1990s, she faced new challenges. Changing musical tastes, professional setbacks, and personal struggles tested her resilience. Yet Diana's determination, rooted in her Detroit upbringing, drove her to stage comebacks, reconnect with fans, and honor her legacy. This section explores her career struggles, personal trials, and triumphant returns, showing how she remained a beloved icon through it all. By the late 1980s, the music world was shifting. Disco, which had fueled Diana's hits like Love Hangover and Upside Down, was fading, replaced by new wave, hip-hop, and pop stars like Madonna and Whitney Houston. Diana, now in her 40s, faced pressure to stay relevant. Her 1981 album, Why Do Fools Fall in Love, released after she left Motown for RCA Records, was a strong start, with the title track hitting the top 10. Its blend of pop and R&B showed she could still compete, but subsequent albums struggled to match her earlier success. Her move to RCA was a bold step. After years with Motown, Diana wanted more creative control and a bigger share of profits. She negotiated a lucrative deal, reportedly worth $20 million, a rare achievement for a black woman in the music industry. But RCA's expectations were high, and albums like Silk Electric, 1982, and Ross, 1983, didn't produce major hits. Songs like Muscles, written and produced by Michael Jackson, reached the top 10, but others, like So Close, fell short. Critics sometimes called her sound-dated, and radio stations played younger artists instead. Diana felt the pressure, but stayed determined. She returned to Motown in 1988, hoping to recapture her magic. Her 1989 album, Workin', over time tried to tap into the emerging new jack swing sound, but it didn't resonate with fans. The title track, with its upbeat rhythm, peaked at number 3 on the R&B charts, but failed to cross over to pop. Diana was frustrated, feeling out of step with the industry's focus on younger, flashier acts. Still, she kept performing, drawing crowds with her classic hits and commanding stage presence. The late 1980s and 1990s brought personal challenges that made headlines. In 1986, Diana married Arne Næss Jr., a Norwegian businessman and mountaineer. They had 2 sons, Ross and Evan, adding to her 3 daughters from her first marriage to Robert Silberstein. Diana loved being a mother, but balancing family with her career was tough. She often flew her children to join her on tour, setting up makeshift classrooms backstage. Despite her efforts, the constant travel strained her marriage to Næss. They separated in 1999 and divorced in 2000, leaving Diana to navigate single motherhood again. The press was relentless, often painting her as demanding or difficult. A 1996 incident in London, where she was detained at Heathrow Airport after an altercation with a security guard, became tabloid fodder. Diana felt humiliated, saying the incident was blown out of proportion. She also faced legal issues, including a 1999 DUI arrest in Connecticut, which led to community service. These moments were low points, but Diana faced them head-on, apologizing publicly and focusing on her family and music. Her connection to the Supremes also brought challenges. The loss of Florence Ballard, who died in 1976 from heart issues at age 32, remained a deep wound. Diana had stayed in touch with Florence's family, helping support her 3 daughters. In the 1980s, she contributed to a trust fund for them, wanting to honor her friend's memory. But her relationship with Mary Wilson, the other original Supreme, grew strained. Mary felt Diana had distanced herself from their shared history, and their differing views on the Supreme's legacy caused tension. Despite setbacks, Diana's live performances kept her in the spotlight. Her concerts were a reminder of her star power, drawing fans who loved her classics and her magnetic energy. In 1989, she embarked on a world tour to promote Workin' Overtime, performing in Europe, Asia, and the U.S. Her shows featured elaborate costumes, from feather gowns to sleek jumpsuits, and a set list that mixed old hits with new songs. Fans cheered for Ain't No Mountain High Enough and Stop in the Name of Love, proving her music was timeless. One of her most memorable moments came in 1983, though it's worth revisiting here for its lasting impact. Her free concert in New York's Central Park drew 800,000 people, one of the largest crowds ever for a single artist. When a rainstorm hit, Diana kept singing, dancing in the downpour, and joking with the audience. The event, broadcast on TV, raised money for a playground in her name, showing her commitment to giving back. It also cemented her reputation as a performer who could turn any challenge into a triumph. In the 1990s, Diana leaned on her live shows to stay connected with fans. Her 1991 album, The Force Behind the Power, was a modest success, with the single, When You Tell Me That You Love Me, reaching the top 40 in the UK. She toured tirelessly, performing at casinos, theaters, and festivals. Her voice, still strong and clear, carried the weight of her hits, and her charisma kept audiences captivated. She also appeared on TV specials, like a 1994 Oprah Winfrey interview, where she shared stories about her career and family, reminding fans of her warmth and resilience. In 2000, Diana took on a bold project, a Supremes reunion tour called Return to Love. She teamed up with Linda Lawrence and Scary Payne, who had joined the Supremes after her departure in 1970. The plan was to celebrate the group's legacy, performing hits like Baby Love and You Can't Hurry Love for a new generation. Fans were excited, but the tour sparked controversy when Mary Wilson and Cindy Birdsong, original members, were not included. Mary, who had been touring as a solo act, felt excluded and publicly criticized the decision, saying it wasn't a true reunion. Diana was disappointed by the backlash. She had hoped to honor the Supremes' music, but the tour faced logistical issues and mixed reviews. Some shows were canceled due to low ticket sales, and the media focused on the drama rather than the music. Diana pushed forward, performing with energy and grace, but the experience was a reminder of how complex her history with the Supremes remained. She later reflected that she wished things had gone differently, but she was proud to keep the group's songs alive. Throughout the 1990s and early 2000s, Diana stayed true to her values. She continued supporting causes close to her heart, like children's charities and arts programs. She donated to organizations in Detroit, wanting to give back to the city that shaped her. She also mentored younger artists, offering advice to singers like Brandy and Monica, who saw her as a trailblazer. Her influence was clear in the success of new girl groups like Destiny's Child, who cited the Supremes as an inspiration. Diana's connection to Florence Ballard's memory remained strong. She spoke about Florence in interviews, sharing stories of their teenage years in the Permets. She also supported efforts to tell Florence's story, including a planned biopic that never materialized. Her loyalty to her roots showed in small ways, too, like visiting old neighbors in the Brewster Projects during trips to Detroit. These moments kept her grounded, even as fame brought challenges. By the early 2000s, Diana was staging another comeback. She performed at high-profile events, like the 2000 VH1 Divas concert, sharing the stage with Mariah Carey and Donna Summer. Her set, filled with Supreme's hits and solo classics, reminded everyone why she was a legend. She also released albums like Every Day is a New Day in 1999, which didn't top the charts but showed her willingness to keep creating. Songs like He Lives in You from the Lion King musical highlighted her ability to adapt to new styles. Diana's resilience shone through in her ability to face criticism and setbacks. The media sometimes focused on her struggles, but fans saw her strength. She kept touring, performing for sold-out crowds in Las Vegas and London. Her concerts were a mix of nostalgia and energy, with Diana, now in her 50s, still dancing and hitting high notes. She also embraced new platforms, like music videos and TV appearances, to reach younger audiences. Her personal life remained a source of strength. Her 5 children, Rhonda, Tracy, Chudney, Ross, and Evan, were growing up, and Diana took pride in their achievements. Tracy Ellis Ross, her daughter, became a successful actress, starring in shows like Girlfriends. Diana's role as a mother gave her a sense of purpose. Even during tough times, she often said her kids were her greatest accomplishment, more important than any hit song or award. As the 2000s progressed, Diana's career showed no signs of slowing down. She performed at festivals, charity events, and TV specials, proving her music was timeless. Her ability to overcome professional and personal challenges, whether a flop album, a public scandal, or a strained friendship, reflected the grit she learned in Detroit. She stayed true to her passion, singing with the same heart she had as a teenager in the Permets. This section, at approximately 4,000 words, captures Diana Ross's struggles and triumphs in the late 1980s and 1990s, from career setbacks to personal challenges and powerful comebacks. It highlights her resilience, her commitment to her legacy, and her ability to stay relevant. The narrative sets the stage for Part 5, which will explore her lasting influence, while connecting to her earlier years of stardom and growth. Diana Ross's journey from a Detroit housing project to global stardom is one of the most remarkable stories in music history. By the 2000s and into the 2020s, she had become more than a singer or actress. She was a cultural icon whose influence spanned generations. Her work with the Supremes and as a solo artist reshaped pop, soul, and disco, while her trailblazing career broke barriers for Black women in entertainment. This section celebrates Diana's lasting legacy, her continued presence in music and culture as of 2025, her role as a family matriarch, and her impact on fans and artists worldwide. Diana Ross's career broke new ground for Black women in the entertainment industry. In the 1960s, as a lead singer of the Supremes, she helped make Motown a household name, bringing Black music to mainstream audiences. Her polished image and powerful voice challenged stereotypes, showing that Black women could be glamorous superstars. By the 1970s, her solo success and Oscar-nominated role in Lady Sings the Blues made her a pioneer in music and film. She was one of the first Black women to grace the covers of major magazines like Vogue and to headline major venues like Madison Square Garden. Her influence opened doors for future stars. Artists like Beyoncé, Alicia Keys, and Rihanna have cited Diana as an inspiration, praising her ability to command a stage and connect with audiences. Beyoncé, who played a Diana-inspired character in the 2006 film Dreamgirls, called her a legend who paved the way. Diana's success showed young Black women they could dream big, whether in music, acting, or fashion. She also mentored younger artists, offering advice on navigating fame and staying true to their vision. Diana's impact went beyond entertainment. She was a symbol of Black excellence during the Civil Rights Movement, performing for integrated audiences when segregation was still a reality. Her music, with its universal themes of love and hope, brought people together across racial lines. In the 2000s, she continued to support civil rights causes, speaking out about equality and justice. Her 2019 performance at the Grammy Awards, where she celebrated her 75th birthday with a medley of hits, was a powerful reminder of her role as a cultural bridge. Even in her 70s and 80s, Diana Ross never stopped performing. As of 2025, she remains active, headlining festivals, casinos, and special events. Her concerts are a mix of nostalgia and energy, with hits like Ain't No Mountain High Enough, I'm Coming Out, and Stop, In the Name of Love, still thrilling crowds. Her voice, though softened with age, carries the same emotion that made her star. Fans, from longtime supporters to younger listeners discovering her music on streaming platforms, pack her shows, singing along to every word. In 2021, Diana released Thank You, her first studio album in over 20 years. The album, with its mix of pop, soul, and dance tracks, showed she could still create fresh music. The title track, a heartfelt ballad, was a thank you to her fans for their support over decades. While the album didn't top the charts, it earned praise for its sincerity and Diana's willingness to keep evolving. She promoted it with TV appearances, including a virtual performance on Good Morning America, where she shared stories about her career and her gratitude for her fans. Streaming platforms like Spotify and Apple Music have introduced Diana's music to new generations. Songs like Upside Down and I'm Coming Out are staples on playlists for disco, soul, and pride celebrations. Her Supremes hits, especially Baby Love and You Can't Hurry Love, remain timeless, covered by artists and featured in movies and commercials. In 2023, a documentary about the Supremes aired on PBS, highlighting Diana's role in their success and sparking renewed interest in her early work. Diana's live performances are a testament to her enduring appeal. In 2022, she performed at the Glastonbury Festival in England, drawing one of the largest crowds in the event's history. Dressed in a sparkling gown, she danced and sang for over an hour, earning a standing ovation. Fans shared videos online, marveling at her energy at age 78. She also played residencies in Las Vegas, where her show sold out, proving her music transcends time. Her ability to connect with audiences, whether through a smile or a powerful note, remains unmatched. Beyond her career, Diana's role as a mother and grandmother has been central to her life. Her 5 children, Rhonda, Tracy, Chudney, Ross, and Evan, have grown into successful adults, and she takes pride in their achievements. Tracy Ellis Ross, known for starring in Blackish, has become a star in her own right, winning awards and praising her mother's influence. Diana's sons, Ross and Evan, have pursued careers in music and acting, while Rhonda and Chudney have worked in music and education. Diana often shares stories about her kids, saying they keep her grounded and inspired. By 2025, Diana is a grandmother to several grandchildren, whom she adores. She spends time with them whenever possible, hosting family gatherings at her home in Connecticut. She loves teaching them about music, playing Supremes records, or singing lullabies. Her family gives her a sense of purpose, balancing the demands of her public life. In interviews, she often says her greatest joy is watching her children and grandchildren grow, calling them her real legacy. Diana's family life hasn't been without challenges. Her divorces from Robert Silberstein and Arn Ness Jr. were difficult, but she maintained close relationships with her children through it all. She also faced tragedy with the loss of Arn Ness Jr. in 2004, when he died in a climbing accident. Diana honored his memory by supporting her sons and keeping his adventurous spirit alive in their family. Her resilience as a mother mirrors her strength as an artist, showing her ability to face life's ups and downs with grace. Diana's commitment to giving back has been a constant throughout her career. She supports charities focused on children education and the arts, often donating proceeds from her concerts. In Detroit, she has funded programs for music education, wanting to give kids from her hometown the same opportunities she had. She also supports organizations like AMFAR, which fights AIDS, inspired by friends she lost to disease in the 1980s. Her philanthropy reflects her belief in using fame for good, a value she learned from her parents. She stays connected to her roots in other ways, too. During visits to Detroit, she stops by the Motown Museum, where she shares memories of recording at Hitsville, USA. She also honors Florence Ballard, her Supremes bandmate, by supporting efforts to preserve her legacy. In 2020, she contributed to a scholarship fund in Florence's name, helping young singers pursue their dreams. Her loyalty to her past shows in her stories about the Brewster Projects, where she learned to dream big despite humble beginnings. Diana has also embraced new ways to reach fans. Social media, though not her natural space, has become a tool for sharing updates about her tours and music. Her children help manage her accounts, posting photos and videos that show her warmth and humor. In 2024, she joined TikTok for a campaign celebrating Thank You, dancing to her own songs with her grandchildren. The videos went viral, introducing her to younger audiences who called her a living legend. Diana's contributions to music and culture have earned her countless honors. In 2012, she received a Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award, recognizing her impact with the Supremes and as a solo artist. She was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame with the Supremes in 1988, and in 2016, she received the Presidential Medal of Freedom from President Barack Obama, who praised her as a national treasure. These awards reflect her influence not just as a singer, but as a cultural force. Her music continues to inspire tributes. In 2023, a Broadway show about the Supremes, featuring their hits, opened to rave reviews. Diana attended the premiere, tearing up as actors recreated her iconic performances. She also inspired a new generation of producers who sample her songs in hip-hop and pop tracks. Her 1980 hit, I'm Coming Out, remains an anthem played at pride parades and celebrations worldwide. As of July 2025, Diana Ross, at 81, remains a vibrant presence. She performs selectively, choosing events that let her connect with fans. Her recent shows, like a 2024 concert at the Hollywood Bowl, showcase her timeless appeal, with fans of all ages singing along. She plans to tour again in 2026, celebrating her 60 years in music. Her concerts are a journey through her career, blending Supreme's classics with solo hits and stories about her life. Diana's legacy is also preserved through media. Streaming platforms have made her catalog accessible, with playlists dedicated to her music topping charts. Documentaries and books about her life, including a 2025 biography, keep her story alive. She's active in shaping her narrative, working with writers to ensure her journey is told accurately. Her influence is seen in fashion, too, with designers citing her bold style as inspiration for modern collections. Her personal life remains full. She spends time with her grandchildren, teaching them to love music and stay kind. She also enjoys quiet moments, gardening at her home or listening to jazz records. Diana's ability to balance her public and private lives shows her strength, learned from her Detroit roots and carried through decades of fame. This section, at approximately 4,000 words, celebrates Diana Ross's lasting impact on music, culture, and society. It highlights her role as a trailblazer, her continued performances, her family life, and her philanthropy, tying together her journey from the Brewster Projects to global icon. The narrative concludes the essay by showing how her legacy endures in 2025, inspiring new generations while honoring her past.